We're now going to take a closer look at families, family libraries, and loading families. All elements in Revit architecture belong to families. Each family may have multiple types predefined, and new types may be created by duplicating existing types. When you start a new project, the families which are initially available for use will be determined by the template used to start the project. There are two general categories of families. There are system families, these are the big ones, which are host elements such as walls, roofs, floors, stairs, etc. And these system families will always be available, although the exact types of these system families are going to vary depending on the template that you've used to start your project. Variations of system families are defined by creating new types. The other category of families are hosted elements such as doors, windows, railings, etc., and placed elements such as furniture, plumbing fixtures, annotation elements, etc. A wall is a system family, and if I select this wall, we have no option for editing this family, although we can edit the type. This wall has a number of instance parameters, and if I choose Edit Type, it also has type parameters, and there's the option to create new types. So this is a system family, it's a basic wall, and it's one of the many types that are predefined or loaded here. It's possible for me to create a new type within a system family by duplicating the type and then modifying the parameters. So if I'd like to create another variation of a wall that's not going to use a metal stud, but that's going to use a wood stud, for example, I can duplicate this, and I'll just change the word metal to wood, and then I'll pick OK, and this is going to be defined in the structure. So I'll choose to edit the structure, and then I'm going to find my metal stud component under materials, and I'm going to pick this. And in my material browser, I'm going to filter this down to a wood and then select a softwood lumber and pick OK. And that's it. We've made our structure now a softwood lumber, and I'll pick OK. The structural material is defined differently. And if I pick OK, that wall that we've created is now going to be using that new type. So we have a brand new type that we've created just by modifying the parameters. And we'll be editing structure on walls in much more detail later, so don't worry about the fact that I went through that just a little bit quickly. If I go into my first floor view now, you can see that the stud component here is a different color than here. And here we have a metal stud wall, and here we have a wood stud wall, and we see that variation between the two. And even in a hidden line view, we're going to see this little extra line here that indicates there's a change in material. If I want those to clean up, then I'm just going to pick this, change the type back to a metal stud, and if they're the same material, then we're going to get this junction to clean up nicely. I'll go back to my shaded view and then back to 3D. System families like walls and floors cannot be loaded from a library. When we get to our doors and windows, we're going to be able to load those. But a wall or a floor or a roof type, they are going to be defined in the template. Now there's an undocumented and clever little way of transferring these elements, and it's simply to copy and paste. To illustrate this, I'm going to just start a quick new project, and I'm going to choose the wrong template. And as a matter of fact, I'll say no template. And I'll just make a new project without a template file. I'll confirm that I'm going to draw in feet and inches. But if I try to draw a wall now, and I pick wall, architectural, I have a basic wall, and that's it. Standard wall, bada boom, bada bang, not much going on there. If I would like to get if I've started, this is what you should do. Start your project with the right template so that you have the tool available that you need to get started. If you do start a project with the wrong template and you want, or you have done a nice variation of a system family in another project and you want to transfer it, then what we can do is simply go into that project that has the family that you want, pick it, and do a Control C. I just hit Control C to copy that to the clipboard. Now I'm going to switch into that new empty blah boring file, and I'm going to do a Control V. And I'm pasting it in, and it's letting me know that there are some variations in fill patterns and glass materials. That's okay. I'll just pick OK. And then here comes my new wall, and I can select that wall, go to a 3D view, and now that wall is available for me, and I can select this one that I've created and assign that new type. Or I can start my wall command and pick that type and start drawing this to add that type. So that's how you can transfer system families. All right, let's close this one. Nothing to save here. And we're back into our loadable families. A loadable family is defined with its own file type, an RFA file extension, and it's created in an environment called the family editor. It's different than the project editor. And after you've drawn the geometry for all of the required views and set up the desired parameters for this new family and specified the default visibility of elements for different viewing directions and added all of your instance and type parameters, then you save that family with a new name in a library of families. Just to take a quick look at the family editor, I can select one of these windows, and this time we have an option to edit family. And if I edit family, we can just take a quick look at this. And this is what the family editor looks like. We're starting with a front view, and it's actually a back view. If I switch to my project browser here, and I go to my floor plans, we have a floor line view, and I can make that active. And this is a default wall, and here are the elements that actually define the window. So there are frame elements, and there are extrusions, and there's trim elements. There are solid elements as well as detail lines for the various elements. And we see these dashed green lines. Those are reference planes. And then we have some labels letting us know which is the interior and exterior. A dimension with a value on it, width equals 3 feet, that's a parameter. And if I select this, we can see this has a label, and this is a type parameter. If I take a look at one of these smaller dimensions here, that's 3/4 of an inch, this is going to be set up to define an offset distance, it looks like, from the frame to the wall. If I take a look in another view, if I go to an elevation view, we have more parameters, and wherever we see these labeled values, here's a default sill height, 3 feet. And if I pick this one, this is also being defined as a parameter. It's a default sill height, it's not an actual sill height instance parameter. If I take a look here, here's my trim width for the interior and my trim width for the exterior, and these green lines. So this is what the family editor looks like. And these dimensions and geometry for our different views allow us to define and create this window, but then make that window modifiable once we get it into our project environment. All right, let's just close this file. We won't save any changes. We don't want to modify that. And we'll take a look at where we can get at more windows. Revit architecture provides hundreds of pre-made families in over 30 different categories, including doors, windows, furniture, plumbing fixtures, and many others. And these families may be loaded into your project from the Insert tab of the ribbon. And if you just go to the Insert tab, and then from the Load from Library panel, you choose Load Family. This is going to bring up a Load Family dialog box. It'll default to your current library. If my project is set up with an imperial template, then this is going to be accessing a US Imperial library. It's possible to have multiple libraries. I have another one for Canada. I have another one for generic libraries. I often install a UK content library as well. But if I go into my US Imperial folder, we have all of these other subfolders. So let's take a look at Windows. So we have doors, we have electrical equipment, we have lighting, furniture. If I go into the furniture category, we have beds and storage and tables. If I look under seating, we have different types of chairs, and I could bring these chairs into my project by selecting them and then choosing to open. Let's just go up a level, or I'll choose back and back again, and let's go down to our windows. And you notice that it goes title blocks, windows, walls, no walls. We look for floors, no floors. Look for roof, no stairs. Why aren't those elements available? Because they are families, and system families cannot be loaded in the same way that we can load a door or a window or a piece of furniture. So let's go into our Windows category then, and we'll find a window that we'd like to bring in. Maybe we want this elliptical window. So I'll choose my ellipse with trim, and then I'll choose open, and that has loaded it into the project. We've inserted it, we haven't added it, but if I select one of my existing windows now, and I take a look in my family selector here, my ellipse with trim is available, and I can say that I want a 36 by 48 inch elliptical window in that location. And that is how we can bring in a family. Now, as you're adding a window or a door, you can also load a family. Let's see. How are we going to do this? Let's go to our floor plan view, and I'm going to remove this door, and then I'm going to go to my architecture, and I'll pick door, and I'll take a look into my doors, and I want a glass door, and I don't see a glass door. Darn, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to, in the middle of my door command, reach over here to load family, and it's going to go right back to that US Imperial library. And then I'm going to go to my doors, and then I'm going to go to commercial, and then I'm going to go to a door, exterior, single, to light. So here's my 2-panel glass door, and I'll choose open. And this is called a type selection library, and I can choose the size that I want as I'm adding it, and I can choose multiple. If I want my door to be a 36 by 7 by 84, I'm going to pick this one and pick OK. If I want a 36 by 84 and I also want a 36 by 96, I can bring both of these in by pressing my Control key. It allows me to pick multiple elements. If you pick a second time, it removes it. So I'll bring in a 7-foot door and an 8-foot door at the same time. I'll choose OK, and we'll open this. And here's my door, exterior, single, to light, 36 by 84, and the command is still active. My modify place door is active, and now I can choose my door here, or my location for my door, and add that. We go back to our 3D view, and there's the door that we've just drawn and brought in at the same time. If I select a door, there's another way that we can bring in a family. And if I pick this, and then I choose to edit the type, let's say I want to be a different fancy panel wood door, but I don't have one available. No problem. I'm going to choose Edit Type, and from within the type properties, we also have a load option, and the load is just beside the family listing. These are the only 2 door families that we have available. This particular family has the 2 types that I've loaded. If I want a different family altogether, then I can choose Load here again, and there's that familiar folder, and we'll go into our doors and commercial, and let's see, we could make it into a revolving door, or we could make it into this passage door with a full light of glass. And that's actually an interior door, but we'll bring it in anyway. I'll pick open. I'll choose the size that I want, a 36 by 84, and then I'll pick OK. And so we've added that, and this is the type that we're dealing with. We can change parameters about it if we want, or we can just pick OK. And now we've brought that new door in and assigned it on the fly. So those are the ways that we can get content into our project from the libraries. If I go to my first floor and I want to bring in a piece of furniture here, then I can start the command. I can choose to place a component, and then I can choose to load a family, and then I can go to the category that I'm looking for, furniture and seating, and we're going to bring in a bench, a locker room, maybe not a locker room bench, maybe an executive chair. And I'll open this executive chair and we'll just bring in a copy and we'll place it here. And there's our new door. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's a door. And there's our new chair. And I just wanted to pick it and rotate it around a couple of times. If I select this chair, and let's just pull it outside actually so that we can take a look at it more easily. I'm just going to pull this off to the side and then switch to a 3D view. And there's the door that we've just loaded. Did I say it again? I swear that's a door. It's a chair. Let's get rid of it and let's find another one. There are other ways that you can add content to your projects, and you can get content online as well. And if I go to my main architecture tab here, and then choose insert, there is a panel called Autodesk Seek. And Autodesk Seek lets me find a door. So I'll just type door. Do you see how I type door? I'll just type door, chair, and I'm going to hit enter and see if we can find another chair. So this is going to bring up a browser at Autodesk Seek, and it's going to automatically do a search for a chair. And Autodesk Seek is a website. Let's just close this other tab. Autodesk Seek is a website that has content. How much content does it have? Well, if we go to the home category here, just pop out of our chair and go back to the home, it has over 66,000 BIM files. Some of them are good, some of them are kind of not so good, some of them are hard to access. You will find something in here that you could use. If I look under my interior category, if I go to Browse BIM Files and pick Interior, I can choose a category now. Let's look at their chairs. And if I go to this category, it takes me back to that same location that came up when I did a search for chair. And from here, you can choose the type of chair. You could have filters on the left, and we can drill this down to office furniture or systems furniture. You can choose to source your content by manufacturer. You can, if you know a company that makes chairs like Herman Miller or Technion, let's take a look at all of the Herman Miller chairs. If I just pick this category for Herman Miller, it's going to show me all of the chairs that are available from this particular manufacturer. And if I want to bring in a copy of this Aeron work chair, pretty fancy piece of gear, or this executive chair here, embody chairs, we'll find the one that we want, and I'll pick this. And then it's going to go to another page, and you have three different types. It has a side chair, a work chair, and a work stool. So do you want one or all? I'm going to pick the work chair. So I'll choose this, and then after I've selected what I want, there's more information here. If you scroll down, you can find out some information about this. You could go to their website and view this at source. We can browse to the Herman Miller, and get some more information about it. There are also drawing files, SketchUp files, PDF files, zip files. And if we just want to get the family, I'm going to pick the one that I want, and then I'm going to choose the download option and choose to save this selected to local. That means my computer. When you try to do this, it's going to ask you to either log in or create an account, and you can use your Autodesk ID. I've already logged in, so I'm just going to pick download, and it's going to start downloading that file for me. Here it comes. And sometimes they'll download as an RFA file. Sometimes it will download as a zip file. And in this instance, we have an actual zip file. This is including the fabrics and the materials that are used to show this properly in a realistic rendered view. So if I extract this file to a folder inside my library, I'll be able to access this and render it and everything. If I just want to take a look at the chair file itself, I can pick this RFA file from within my zip file. I can drag and drop it onto my desktop, or I can even open it by double-clicking. And it's going to ask me, do you really want to open this? I'll say yes. And it's letting me know that the chair was originally defined in Revit 2013, and I need to upgrade it to my current version, 2016. So I'll pick OK, and we'll take a look here in a 3D view, and here's our chair. And if I want a copy of this rather elaborate chair in my project, then I choose to load into project, and it will show me a list of all of the available projects that I have open. If I only have one project open, it's just going to let me bring this in and pick a point. And if we change our view here, here's the element that we've accessed from the Autodesk Web or Autodesk Seek website. Now the other place that you can access files and add content is a website called Revit City. And let me just switch back to that browser window, and I'm going to switch over to Revit City, and we'll go to the home section. We're at the home section now. So it's just called revitcity.com. You can find online resources such as Revit City by doing a Google search or a Bing search if you don't like Google. Do a search for Revit content or Revit families. Revit City is probably going to come up high on the list. And at Revit City, you can find even more content at the Autodesk Seek website. If I choose downloads, I can do a search here with keywords. I can also filter this to different objects or different versions of Revit. This site has been around for quite a while. We can also go through a category listing on the left, and the default category listing is showing in a CSI master format type, but you might find it a friendlier format to change this to a revitcity.com tree type. And then we have categories such as architectural columns, doors and openings, furnishings, and we can find content here as well. So let's go to our furniture, and I'll just open this one up. And then let's go to tables, and we'll choose dining and conference tables. And after I've selected a category, I'm going to see a list of files. So there are 14 pages of files in this category. So we have folding tables. We can take a look down through restaurant type tables, a meeting room table, bar bench table, round table. So you find what you want. And let's do a search as well. I'm going to look for a search panel. Let's go back to our downloads, and I'll do a search for conference table. And if I do a search for conference table, here we have a variable size conference table with chairs. Here we have a coalesce E-table, a modern conference table, a soft radius conference table. All of these different tables. So if I wanted to get a copy of this 16-foot or 14-foot Coalesce E-table, then I can just choose to download it. And it is going to ask you to log in to this site, so you'll need to join the site and log in. It's free, of course. And then I can choose this Coalesce E-table soft radius, and this is an RFA file. So if I just pick my download, it's going to open right away. And this one was originally created back in Revit 2009. I'll upgrade this, and we can open this file in the family editor. And this is what it looks like. Kind of a cool looking conference table. I like this. And if we want to load this into our office project, we'll just choose load into project. Select the project where you want to load it, and I'll pick open, and here is our table, and we'll just rotate this around and put it beside our chair, and then we can take a look. So we've brought in some custom content, one piece from Autodesk Seek, one piece from Revit City, and this is how you can find additional content to add to your project. All right, what else did I want to show you? All of the families that you've listed or added to your project are going to be visible in the project editor. And if I go to my family category, find things like our doors, and here are our custom doors. We can find things like our furniture that we've just added. And if I go to furniture, here are the tables and the task chairs and the Herman Miller chair that we've brought in. And these are the different sizes that are predefined here. If I select one of these and right click, I can get rid of a particular family by deleting the family definition in the browser. If I wanted to make a variation on the size, then I can right click and I can choose new type. And we can also choose edit to open this in the family editor. If I select one of the individual types and right click, we have options to delete that type or duplicate that type. We also have options to select instances within our project. When one of our families are selected, I can of course just choose edit type as well, and I can duplicate this type to make a new size. If I wanted to create a 12 by 48 inch version, a 12 foot, I'll duplicate and I'll reduce the length here to 12 feet by 48 by 22. That's fine. And then pick OK, and then I'll just drop the length to 12 feet and OK, and there's our new 12-foot variation of that table. All right, that's enough for our families. Let's see, what are we going to do next? In the next portion of our demonstration, and we'll look at sketched features, not sketchy walls like we looked at before, but actual sketching of lines and perimeters to define things like a roof or a floor or a custom stair. So we'll see you back here in a few minutes for sketching.